Do you want to talk a little bit, just super quick explanation, because this is something that we've both traded together in the past. Do you want to talk about exactly what this pattern that you're looking at and why you took this trade?
Yeah, so this is called the Wychoff. This is distribution. This is a Wychoff distribution pattern.
Welcome to Top Tier Trader. I'm your host, Grant Hardy, and we have a follow-up interview from the prior week with Chris Kane. He's going to go over his account challenge that he's taking on the 50K, and he's actually in profit. So, Chris, how you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Happy to be in profit. A little upset at a loss I took this week, but you know, I got some good trades set up this week now.
Now.
So, yeah, now I do. It's gonna work.
I love it. So you're in profit. What's your trading looking like so far? I have your account pulled up. We'll go in, but what's it looking like as far as your mentality, how you're going about this?
Like I said last week, I was like, I just want to do one standard. You know, I want to stretch this thing the whole month. I'll tell you that the 1 month thing is kind of stressful. That's probably the most stressful part about the challenge, I'd say.
What do you mean 1 month?
Because you don't want to over leverage, right? Like you want to grow a little bit at a time. So when the market, like this week, the market has been so bad. It hasn't been given right. It hasn't been given very many setups. So like day after day's passing, you're like, this is a day less that I have to do this challenge. It starts weighing on the mentality. It's kind of where I lost that trade that I lost this week. So I'm like trying to force something.
Okay. All right.
So
interesting. Well, do you want to walk us through here on your charts or on your back office? I mean, just from the back office, your everything looks amazing. Your win to loss rate, your risk, your winning, like it all looks great. So do you want to kind of walk us through it and see what's happening?
Sure. So last week I had some good profits on Euro USD because I was somewhere in this area shorting, and we talked. I put up a little lesson about what was happening here in this consolidation zone on the Trader Society Discord chat, and right here when it consolidated slowly and tight below this area, that's a good sign that the market has picked up enough liquidity and it's moving.
Right.
So I went ahead and sold with this downward pressure and closed out somewhere in here.
Okay.
Made like 60 pips, something like that.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit, just super quick explanation, because this is something that we've both traded together in the past. Do you want to talk about exactly what this pattern that you're looking at and why you took this trade?
Yeah, so this is called the Wyckoff. This is distribution. This is a Wyckoff distribution pattern. And there's a lot of steps involved throughout here, a lot of psychology that's happening. And it's pretty much just the banks picking up liquidity in order to move price.
Right.
They have to have enough money to move the price. And so what we have here is we have like a push high and then a failure to break the high. And then it pushes out the bottom. So immediately people start thinking, you know, downward trend. So they're trying to get in sells. People put their stops above here, above the previous high. That's right where the market goes.
Right.
Boom. They're out of the market. They picked up some liquidity here, then it comes back down. So people are thinking, you know, they might be out of the market at this point. But then when it breaks, they're thinking, okay, it's broke to the high side. We're going bullish. On this third push to the high, whenever it falls back in, that's where you look to sell. And that's where I was at. I was somewhere right in here on my other account, not this one, but on my other account I was in sells here. And you take profit at this area of confluence.
Right.
And
then the next level is where you took it on your funded account.
Yeah, so at this level is where I took it the funded account because that's when I started it. It would have been nice to have started the week before, but this is where we took this one because this is exactly what you want to see. Tight consolidation underneath where it's been bouncing, and then it will continue to go.
And as far as the Wychoff goes, this was a pretty
Textbook.
clean setup. So if anyone wants to dive in more on that, there's a lot of information on the internet, but it is the Wychoff method. So awesome, man. Well, do you want to, did you have another trade or anything you want to go over real quick?
I did have a loss that I want to talk about, and this was my forced trade that I did. So on smaller time frames, it looked good, like okay to me. Let's try to get here. So what I saw on the smaller time frames, whoops, did not mean to click this. Is this where we were at? I think I need a bigger time frame than this. Let's do the 1 hour. Yeah, so this is what I saw on the smaller time frames. I kind of saw like consolidation zone, and it busts out, kind of taps it, and then it rolls. So I did a fib from here to here, and this ended, I was taking the trade right here. I wanted to be on top of this zone right here.
You were taking buys?
I was trying to take buys on top of this zone. That was a 61 pullback. It was kind of hitting this moving average, and on the 15-minute, it was hitting the another moving average right here. Hidden divergence was happening on the RSI. It wasn't my favorite trade setup. It was kind of forced because, and the reason why this one lost, like, is because when you go to the bigger time frames, like the daily, you have rejection off of bigger moving averages.
Right.
And like the higher time frame moving averages rejecting,
those are powerful.
Those are very powerful. Those will roll. Those will continue to roll. And once I saw it break out of that 61.8 and it fell down a little further, I think that this is going to break underneath here. We'll be looking at it coming down to here before it ever even decides to turn around. So I just got out of the loss a little bit early, and the peso moves a little heavier than most pairs. So being in a standard, lost like $600 on that trade.
So still, your first week, you're up over $700. And was this your only loss?
This is my only loss.
Your only loss. And you, here, I'm going to go back through the rest of your account here on the back end real quick. Right, so you have a 77% win rate. You've placed, let's see, your average losing trade, 200, average winning, 106. And what lot sizes are you using?
One standard on every one of them.
A standard on every one of them.
Sometimes I'm like stacking up to a standard. So I'll place like, that's why there might be more trades in there than I've actually really taken. Like if it goes against me a little further, but it hasn't broke out, I'll stack another 20 cents or something up to a standard. I did that with the peso.
Okay.
And then a few of these trades, they didn't move how I wanted them to move.
Right.
And if they don't do the way I want them to do in the time frame that I want them to do, I'll exit them early. So that's why some of my wins may be very small.
Right. So so you've placed 21 trades, it says.
Yes.
That's a lot of trades.
I
feel like.
It is a lot of trades. It's really only been 4.
Were some of them stacked?
Yeah, some of them are stacked,
Okay.
and then I've taken partials. I don't know if taking partials counts as a separate trade.
Okay.
It does count as a separate trade. I've taken partials on several orders as well.
Okay. But ultimately, you've only traded a couple pairs. You know your strategy. You have a goal in mind. You're not trying to over leverage, and I think your approach is right. And even though that the market may be slow, opportunity will still present itself, right? As time goes on, you get closer to that deadline. So just being patient and taking the right setups, again, as we preach over and over, is the most important thing that you can do. And we're looking at his account here, and the numbers, the trades, everything does not lie. So we're going to continue to do these interviews, continue to give you guys updates with what's happening. And I trade alongside this guy and work with him on a daily basis. So everything here is exactly as you see it. So that being said, I want to thank you for doing this again with me. Look forward to doing it again next week, and we'll see what happens. So there's a lot of time, a lot of things that can happen in between then. So that being said, we'd like to thank everyone for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, leave your comments below, and as always, don't live to trade, trade to live.